Welcome, Star Wars fans, to episode 133 of Tatooine Sons. This week, we're talking about Sheev Palpatine.
That's it? That's all you're going to say?
That's all I need to say, so...
I am the Senate.
It's time for Tatooine Sons.
It's true.
What is the name of the Porg on the Millennium Falcon?
Force is strong in my family.
What do you think his name is? It's a big moment.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Maybe Turbis?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Turbis? Pablo, if you're listening to this live stream, that Porg's name is now Turbis. It's a good Star Wars name.
We're not done yet.
These guys recorded an awesome podcast on Tatooine Sons. Everybody listen to this.
Welcome, Star Wars fans. This is Tatooine Sons, your weekly look at all things Star Wars from the unique perspective of a father sharing his love for the amazing space fantasy saga with his two sons. I am BB Nate, and I'm joined first by my brother, Samuel the Hutt.
You two Star Wars fans, thanks for tuning in. And if you're not a Star Wars fan, then I don't care. Go buy Squadrons right now.
Wow.
Just do it. It's $40.
You kind of used this one a couple of times.
No.
You're going to like Squadrons anyway.
Well, now I know for sure.
Okay. So Grammy's on.
Hi, Grammy.
She said we lost the audio. You want to know why?
Because we're not.
Because I muted it on the thing thinking it was just muting our mics, and it muted all this. But that's okay, because it's going to work the rest of the way. I've got a plan. And it worked fine on the podcast recording. So
Yay.
This is what happens.
It's true Tatooine Sons
Love you,
fashion.
Grammy. So,
All right.
And
of course, you can Star Wars without bizarre father figures that accidentally lose audio during video podcast recordings.
Sorry.
This is my dad's bowtie Jedi guy.
what's up, gentlemen?
Hello.
Hola.
It's been kind of a crazy couple of weeks.
It
We
has.
didn't do an episode last week. Came back. Got a little. Mom and Guy got a little cold. No, we do not
Nice.
have COVID with this.
I got a bad feeling about this.
But we got a little cold, and then we've been working our tails off. Our mom's been working her tail off on
Tails?
her tails. She's got two.
Wow. She works so much she needs to have two.
Because she could work one off on one day and then the next one off the next. So that got weird. Okay. 1,200 cookies she's making for our first responders here in Orlando.
A lot of cookies
That's
with
a
one
lot.
oven.
One oven in a home kitchen.
It's a lot of sugar.
It's a lot
So
of
proud
cookies.
of her because she's like not only been able to pull this off, but she's maintained her cool throughout the whole thing. And I don't know how she did both, pulled it off and maintained her cool with it. There was a point right before lunch where she was getting a little hangry. Do you notice that hungry, angry thing? She hadn't eaten anything, and she's like stuff started going a little bit wrong, just a little bit, and she was like, you could tell she was getting frustrated. So she sat down.
She took a break.
She was fine.
Ate some pizza. It was good.
She's
We're
done
going to have
all
pizza
the-
twice tonight.
All the
Nice.
the 600 plus are baked.
Wow.
So now we've got 600 more to go tomorrow,
Woo.
and then they're done.
Yay.
So,
It's a lot of cookies.
so last weekend we were back in Orange Beach.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
So
Everything was closed, basically.
because of the Hurricane Sally, it was pretty disastrous. When you guys talk about it.
It was.
I mean,
There was a whole dock in the outside pool at the condo, a full one. It was kind of cool because we actually got to see crane lift it out of the pool.
Part of the dock floated over into the outside pool, like over the outside pool, and so it was kind of neat to see like the crane. I mean, it was the most redneck thing ever. The way they were fixing it.
Explain what
there
they
were.
were doing. It was fun to watch.
There was no OSHA like regulations going on there.
Like they were in there in sandals. A couple guys, like flip flop sandals,
So,
walking
like,
around on there.
Basically, they took this barge with a crane on it, or not a crane.
I don't know
what you call those things.
Yeah.
They got like the big arms or whatever with the scoops at the end, and it had a chain on it. And what they did is they parked it in there, not without running into a few things on the way, just because it's true, redneck fashion. And then they basically had this guy get up there with a chainsaw, no safety glasses, nothing. I don't even know
In
if he was-
shorts and flip-flops
Yep.
and everything.
Just cut a couple slits in the dock, and then they had the crane come, and they looped the chain through, and they're like, all right, yank it, see what happens. And they just pull it up, and it falls apart in, like, pieces, and they're like, okay. So they just did it a bunch more times. And
they just piled it on the side
because they said some other company was going to come and pick it up eventually. Anyway, their job was to just get it off the pool and stuff. And they got it all in that one day or whatever, which was impressive. But
there was like flower pots and garbage cans and everything in that outside pool.
It was literally, the water was black.
It was
nasty,
and it stank.
Did you go down there to it?
No, you could smell it from up.
I couldn't smell.
I didn't smell anything.
Maybe I have Rona. I don't know.
You did not have Rona.
I don't have Rona.
You do not have the coronavirus.
So if you follow us and you listen to the show, obviously if you're watching or listening right now, then you listen to our show. The show.
That's a good point.
That's
kind of how it works.
So who talks first? You talk first. I talk first.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what I was getting ready to say. No, you may follow us on Twitter.
Yes.
And if you follow us on Twitter, then there's a possibility, not a likelihood in my opinion, but a possibility that you've noticed I haven't had us on there for about 2 weeks. Yeah. Haven't done diddly squat on Twitter, including our normal Twitter poll and all of that. And there's somewhat it had to do with my phone updated and I couldn't find the Twitter app. It got moved.
You're so old.
No, I'm serious.
You could just search it, right?
I know. I mean, I found it, but it's not where I normally went, where all the other stuff was, so I just stopped paying attention to it. And then it got to the point where I started realizing I didn't care. And that doesn't mean I don't love you guys that follow us on Twitter. You guys are awesome. But the rest of the Twitter stuff's a bunch of junk. And I'm tired of it. So the last 2 weeks has actually been pretty awesome not being on Twitter. And so in the last couple of days, I made the decision that we're going to put our poll over up on Facebook now. And we're going to stay on that because it's a little bit more of a controlled environment. Not worried much about Twitter. We'll probably post our shows on there and maybe interact on there when there's something that I want to interact on, but I don't plan on us being vocally present on Twitter. So find us on Facebook if you listen to the show, just because it just got to the point where it was so out of control toxic. I just didn't want to be on there anymore.
There's no point.
And it was just, it would literally get me frustrated and angry every time I'd get on Twitter. And I just was like,
it's not healthy.
Why do I need that in my life? Yeah. And the last 2 weeks of not having it in my life, it's actually been pretty awesome. So, there we go.
I have spoken.
What else are we going to talk about here on that?
Mom's watching The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Finally.
Explain. Just go. Sam, you can go.
I was just like a couple days ago, Mom was like, she talked about The Mandalorian.
She was like, how many episodes are in it? And we're like, 8.
8. And she's like, oh, that's not bad. I'm like, yeah, they're not even like an hour each. They're usually like 30 minutes. She's like, oh, that's not bad. She's like, I might want to watch that with y'all. And we're like, really? She's like, yeah, so I can watch the new season when it comes out. And we're like, heck yeah, sure, we'll do that. So we've only watched the first couple episodes at this point with her.
Not really any reaction.
No, she said it's Star Wars. She said it didn't feel like a Western as much as even like Solo felt like to her.
Oh.
Because she says, mainly because it's been mostly alien creatures so far. There's not hardly been like any humans at all. And it kind of like takes her out of the moment. So she says it just still feels like Star Wars to her. But
yeah, it's been robots and Baby Yoda and
droids and
Queel.
A lot better though throughout the series.
The next episode 3, is the Cid. That's the that's where it starts. You know what I'm saying?
That's where stuff goes down.
This is the way.
So
we've also
that's that episode, isn't it?
Been for some reason deciding to binge all the Marvel movies that have Iron Man in it because we were at Moe's and we heard a song that we thought was in the first Iron Man.
It wasn't.
It was.
But it reminded us of the song in the first Iron Man.
And we're like, we need to watch Iron Man. So we're like, we're going to watch the first Iron Man. And then we're like, let's just watch
every Marvel movie that has to do with Iron Man.
So that's most of them. We're about to watch Iron Man 3.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've only watched Iron Man 2,
Avengers.
And so now it's Iron Man 3, which BB Nate, you said that was one of your favorites.
It is.
It's one of my favorites.
It's
for sure.
my favorite out of the standalone Iron Man movies.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good.
Why
does Iron Man 2, why does Iron Man 3 get a bad rap?
Iron Man 3, I do
idea.
not understand Iron Man 3 at all. It's a good movie. Iron Man 2, it's a little disjointed. I feel like in some points the pacing can be a little off, but
I don't know. I think they're both fine.
It's
they
fine,
feel like Marvel movies to me. Better than Thor: The Dark World for sure.
Or even...
Is Thor: The Dark World the bottom movie in the entire Marvel?
I don't know,
trilogy?
that or Incredible Hulk. I know both are.
Yeah, but I don't think Incredible Hulk is really considered... I mean, it is part of the MCU just because they decided to make it a part. It's weird.
It is weird.
They don't talk about it at all.
They don't talk about it. It's not on Disney Plus.
No.
Because it's made by a different studio.
Yeah.
It has Ed Norton and not Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
And the only way you know it's part of the MCU is because Tony Stark shows up at the very end.
Yeah.
It's a strange...
And it's got that colonel guy or whatever. The military guy. I forget his name.
Yeah, and he's part... That's true. He's got more continuity than the Hulk does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he shows up in Civil War. He shows up in Captain... No, what was the one that he just...
He showed up in Civil War, and then he's going to show up...
I think in Captain Marvel. He shows up as a young version in something.
I'm pretty sure, yeah,
so.
it might be Captain
Yeah.
Marvel, and then he's going to show up something else.
He's in Endgame.
He's in Endgame.
He shows up at the end at Endgame at the funeral scene.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and I'm
with it.
forgetting...
Anyway.
It's interesting.
I don't know.
So
Yeah, that is one of those weird outlier movie
yeah,
in the MCU.
yeah. It doesn't even feel like part of the MCU.
It really doesn't.
So
Anyway. That was a rabbit trail.
but it's a lot better than the one that came out with.
Ooh, I saw...
I haven't seen that one.
It just like...
The one with Jennifer Connelly and stuff.
It
Yeah.
feels like it's a motion comic.
It's terrible.
It looked bad.
It's
I've never seen
really, really.
I watched the final scene. Whew.
Yeah. Okay. BB Nate, you got a
Yeah.
you got a belated BB
Got enough B's in there?
Impressive. Every word in that sentence was wrong.
You got a belated birthday present.
From y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You had no clue it was coming.
I
Oh,
had
no.
no clue it was coming.
So Mom and I went back to Disney Springs to the Lego store and finally got it after like our fourth attempt.
Really?
Okay. And it was finally in. So why don't you tell everybody what you got?
So they got me the Collector's Series Lego Batmobile with, I think it's around 3,200 pieces. And the biggest set I've built is around 500 pieces. So it would have
Just to give you some perspective, I don't know if the video podcast can see this, but that's about 3 times as many pieces as my Millennium Falcon or Star
Lean your
Destroyer.
head over this way.
This way?
And then show, yeah, that's it.
Star
Yep.
Destroyer.
Yep.
Millennium Falcon. About 3 times that.
It's awesome.
It's really cool.
huge.
I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a little jealous.
I mean...
Then again, I didn't want to bet.
It's very... there's a lot of detail to it. The steering wheel in the cockpit actually steers the front wheels, which is awesome. I mean, you can't
It's
reach
got a
it.
brake and gas pedal.
It
Even though
does.
you can't even see them. They're just there
You can't
because
really reach the steering wheel to steer the front wheels, but it's there. And it took me a whole day to build it.
No, it took you almost 2.
No, well, it took me about a few... I did a couple nights that had like a couple hours in it, and then I just took a whole day to do it. And that was interesting.
Yeah, we got it to you on the Tuesday night, and you put like 5 minutes into it, I think, before bed, or 15, 20 minutes or something before bed.
I think it was like about an hour.
Oh, was it? Okay. And then the next night we had been
At Disney.
and then we went to dinner, I think. And
We went to Uno's.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was late that night, so you did a little bit, hour or so, probably on that. And then the next day it was like an all day.
Yeah.
Because you were getting ready to leave to go out of town. So it was awesome. Wednesday, the 7th.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell them what's up.
This is our first. Well, we're gonna go back and redo the
We're gonna
relaunch.
revisit what the Rebels revisited.
There you go. So our first episode's supposed to come out Wednesday.
And we haven't even prepared.
We
So
have done nothing.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We'll get it
So,
done.
yeah.
I'm excited about it just because we're going to get to watch another episode. We're just going to focus on one episode this time and just do the first one and have some fun. I've got the graphics and stuff in place and the transitions, and it'll be a lot of fun. So.
Yes.
And that one we'll have to actually pay attention to the video when we do it, but it won't be live. So it'll be different. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Excited about that. Yeah. So, all right. Well, don't have a lot to talk about on this week's poll, but we'll again do a little bit of an explanation on the poll in just a second.
Are you brainless?
I never asked that question until after I've done it. What?
All right. right, so our poll this week, last couple of weeks, was supposed to be, which expression of Count Dooku is your favorite? Prequel films, Clone Wars, Jedi Lost. I think we all said Jedi Lost, didn't we? No, I said Jedi Lost.
I said Jedi Lost as well.
What did you say? You said Clone Wars, I think is what you said.
I think you said Clone Wars.
I think I did too.
Yeah.
I was going to say Clone Wars, yeah.
So the reality is we've moved it off of Twitter. It's no longer on a Twitter poll. It's going to be a Facebook poll. It's a tab on our Facebook page, so make sure that you go over there. And you can still vote in that, and it's not limited to 7 days or whatever it is going on with Twitter. So you can always vote in those and have a lot of fun.
7 days?
That's what they've always done that on Twitter.
That's
you can they limit it. You can set it to be like an hour poll or whatever.
Wow. Oh, you've done
but
that.
the maximum is 7 days on that one. This one is just an open-ended.
Okay.
Poll. So
cool.
You guys can vote in on that. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on the poll because there wasn't much to say. This week's poll coming up, though, is going to be really interesting because we're going to be talking about Palpy.
Papa
Palps.
I am the Senate.
Okay, can I say this? I'm waiting for the meme.
Not yet.
Nobody's doing like a deep fake video or something.
Oh.
Because Biden said, I am the Democratic Party.
He did.
At the debate the other night. And I wanted him to say, I want somebody to have that.
Over Palpatine or
over
whatever.
Palpatine or something like that.
That's a good one.
Can you do it?
Hashtag missed opportunities.
I don't know. I might be able to figure something out with that.
It was so. I mean,
clever
I'm
editing.
still waiting for it to happen. I am the Democratic Party. So, anyway, was it a mistake to this coming week's poll that we're going to have after the show finally gets up tomorrow? Was it a mistake to bring Palpatine back for the Rise of Skywalker? Yes, no. Execution was
Okay,
bad.
what type of execution are we talking about? His death or his portrayal?
Are you talking about his literal execution at the
Yes.
end? Oh.
Wow. I can't figure out a comment.
I got a bad
We'll just
feeling
go with that
about
one. Okay.
this.
No, what I meant was, yes, it was a bad idea. No, it wasn't a bad idea. The execution was bad. The
How they did
idea
it.
is not necessarily the issue.
It's
Bringing
just-
him back is fine, but they didn't execute properly.
Yeah.
With that or other. What would you guys say based on that? We're going to talk a little bit about this in the show, but what did you think about
I felt like it was needed. I felt like you don't close out the Skywalker.
Do you like the way they brought him back, though?
Yes. I mean, the novel was so much better than the movie because it expanded on more ideas, and now that I know how he came back.
Okay, let's just talk movie. The way it was presented in the movie.
Yes.
No backstory, no explanation as to where he's at, why he's there, they kind of allude to the fact that they're trying to clone him, but we don't really know. You see cloning chambers. You really don't know. You don't know that Rey's father is a clone. You don't know any of this stuff from the movie.
Right.
All you know is that Palpatine had a son, the son got killed, son and daughter-in-law got killed, and Rey's the grandchild.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And he's been alive this whole time, is what is implied. Do you think that the execution was good?
I think I've said this before, and it's going to kind of sound a little dark side, but I feel like just the whole execution of Rise of Skywalker could have been better. Not just Palpatine. I just feel like the whole movie
And
had a lot of missed opportunities.
I'd have to agree. It's just there was so much. It was all over the place throughout the whole sequel trilogy, and J.J. Abrams refusing to use the story group did not help his situation at all.
Okay, so you like them bringing him back. You like the way they brought him back, but only because it's been informed by what's in the novel.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's fair to Star Wars fans.
Absolutely not.
No.
With it.
I mean, with the whole final battle scene, with all the call signs, they could have easily put that in the movie, but they didn't. I feel like if Rise of Skywalker was the novel we got, it would have been one of the best Star Wars movies ever made. But it wasn't. It was the movie. And I'm not saying that the movie was bad. I can always watch it. It's not a problem. It's an okay movie. But it's not my favorite, definitely. So.
And y'all do realize that at the end of every trilogy, it ends with Palpatine shocking himself, right?
Yeah. Irony.
I don't even know what to say to that.
It's true. Which is why I didn't like that in the end of Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, okay, why can't he just turn off the lightning?
How did he shock himself in the original trilogy?
When he was getting picked up, he was shocking both him and Vader.
Okay.
And by the way, probably Rey was probably using Force Lightning.
She can't use Force Lightning.
Okay.
And it was coming from the lightsabers. Anyway.
All right. That's pretty interesting.
Yes. Very interesting.
It's strange.
All right. Well, why don't we move on? Because now I'm trying to figure out if my
I've
entire
broken your brain?
You broke me. All right. All right. We've flown TIE fighters and X-Wings and A-Wings and Y-Wings and a bunch of other Star Wars wings, or Star Wars ships. And
U-Wings and Reapers and everything.
Well, some of us have. And so that's exciting. Will Sam and Nathan have to ask for a PS5 for Christmas? Christmans. Christmas. And could we finally be getting a Rebels sequel announcement this week? That's all next on Hot Takes.
This is where the fun begins.
Well, you want the bad news or the really bad news?
Impressive. Everyone in that sense was wrong.
All right, all wings report in. Star Wars Squadrons has arrived. The much-anticipated flight combat game is now available for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and is finally playable in virtual reality.
Fully playable.
I say finally, because...
Finally fully playable.
Yeah, it's fully,
very different.
Fully playable in virtual reality. This is from StarWars.com, their announcement. Developed by Motive Studios, Star Wars Squadrons delivers thrilling first-person 5 versus 5 multiplayer space dogfights, monumental fleet battles, and an original story set during the final days of the Galactic Empire and the rise of the New Republic after the events of Star Wars Return of the Jedi. It's the first Star Wars flight game released in years, and this will be a day long remembered. All right, guys, just talk about Squadrons. BB Nate, you've played more of it than anybody.
I have.
So why don't you give us your impression?
No spoilers.
I think I'm on mission 11, so I have 3 missions left.
Okay.
Including the one I'm on, or so. It's the campaign itself right now is very good. I feel like it's one of the better Star Wars campaigns we've gotten over the recent years. Not that it has a lot of, at least, canon importance yet. I don't know. Dad apparently has a little theory so far, but I really enjoy the direction that it's going, and I enjoy
not a theory, more of an Easter egg. Just
Easter egg. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I like the fact that it really delves deep into the military side of New Republic and Empire. It's not all about Force users or somebody defecting or everything. You're diving deep into what it's like. So it's really interesting, and I like the campaign so far. I've tried to play one multiplayer match, and the game crashed, and I was doing really well, and so
talk. I mean, obviously, the campaign is cool. You've enjoyed that, Samuel. What do you think about just the gameplay?
The gameplay itself. Yeah, I think it's everything I wanted it to be. At the beginning, like in the early missions, it was a little okay, just because the early missions were just getting you used to basic controls. But there was one level where finally I had full control over everything in my ship. I was able to divert energy everywhere I wanted. I was able to like move shields towards the front and the back. I had my power-ups. I mean, it was great, and it was this massive battle, and that's when it felt like everything I wanted it to be. I was flying around, and I needed to take out this ship, so I would make sure, okay, I'm going to make sure my shields are at front. I'm going to put all my power to weapons. I'm going to strafe it. I'm going to hit it. Then I'm going to move my shields to the back, recharge my shields, loop around, and then do it all again. And it felt like everything I wanted it to be because I was multitasking everything. This is going to sound bad because I'm referencing something Star Trek here, but just if you ever played...
Hold on.
Just bear with me. I'm going somewhere.
There are a lot of Star Wars fans that play this game.
Okay.
Because it's genuinely a fun game.
Okay.
Star Trek Bridge Crew. Basically, you've got like a bunch of people in the room, and they each control an aspect of whatever ship you're playing,
Enterprise,
like the Enterprise, whatever. Right? You got an engineer doing like power, and you got someone with weapons and steering, and then you got a captain yelling at everyone to do everything. This Squadrons is like that, but you're doing everything and still having to shoot down ships at the same time
and fly
and coordinate with a squadron, and it feels so fun. It's everything I wanted. And then you throw it in VR, and you're like looking around in your cockpit, like following TIE fighters as you're looping around. It feels great. Everything I wanted it to be.
It's a lot of fun. Obviously, I'm playing story mode
Yeah, there's story difficulty.
Story difficulty, which is just designed to be able to play. And
Yeah,
you don't. I mean, I'm crashing into crap and not dying, and stuff like that.
Well, you can crash into stuff and not die normally, which is a mechanic I appreciate in this game. But story mode makes it a lot easier.
I'm flying all over, and the whole point is I just want to be able to fly a TIE fighter, an A-wing, a Y-wing, an X-wing, and what else was? What was the one that we do in the second? The TIE
Interceptor.
Yeah, I think it might have been an Interceptor.
TIE Bomber, Reaper.
I think it was an Interceptor. Anyway, all those different types of ships, and have some fun and get a little bit of Star Wars story. And I want to finish the campaign, and I'm probably going to move on with my life.
That's fair.
Because that's just not my thing. Gaming isn't my thing. Yeah. But playing it in VR is what makes this really, really cool. There's some moments where you have some dead time during the battles or whatever, like you're going from one area to another to a rendezvous or meet up or regroup, I think is what they call it. And I'm literally just looking around the cockpit and like looking outside the cockpit and just like, this is pretty cool. Or when I'm having these conversations for the campaign with the different people and the thing, I'm like, I was on in the hangar for the Empire, and having a conversation with one of what's the main character, the leader of the squadron that.
Gray, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm talking with him, the one that was on the short, the short they did. I'm having this conversation. He's talking and all this stuff, and I'm just looking all around, and it felt like I was on Rise of Resistance, and that makes it awesome because there's continuity even in the way that it looks. It looked like you're there on Rise of Resistance, like you're in that environment. Yeah, well, when you go from getting captured on Rise of Resistance, spoiler alert, sorry, you go from being captured and you walk into that big area, hangar, it looked exactly the same. It felt exactly the same. It felt to scale. It was awesome. All right. There's just that last battle frustrated me to no end. I couldn't find my balance. I couldn't figure out how to get to what it was. Sam hasn't played that one yet. He was trying not to. He couldn't help me. I'm in there. I'm like losing my stuff.
You're like
I was
genuinely
frustrated, pissed. BB Nate came in and helped me out. But explain, BB Nate, that I'm not. It was not just the fact that I'm not a gamer and I'm an old guy. What was it about that was so difficult?
It was very confusing, even for me. It was these little red markers. You had to blow up these thermal cores around the station. And there was just these little red markers telling you where to go. And it's this giant space station, and you have to figure out how to fly around these. And then there's walls everywhere, and you're having to go around, and it's just...
And you're in a bomber, which they aren't very maneuverable.
No, and it was so frustrating. And then you finally got over with it, and you had no idea where to go to the end. And so you're like, I'm done. I'm not playing this anymore. So
I didn't mean I wasn't going to play it anymore. No, I just meant I'm not playing it anymore right now.
No,
you can't do it.
And so I just sat down, I put it on, and I got him to where he needed to be because I knew that the final scene is a really cool scene to play in because it's really cool. And I'm like, Dad has to play this. So I got him in there. I'm like, okay, Dad, I figured it out for you. And so I got him in there and we finished the mission. But that one was frustrating for me too. But you haven't seen anything yet.
Okay. I think it gets a lot harder is what I understand. So I
we have a mission for you.
Yeah. So here's my question. All right.
There's a
big Easter egg, and neither of you have said anything to me about it yet.
They mentioned Thrawn?
No.
That was cool though.
What do you think it is, BB Nate?
It has to do something with Hera.
No.
Okay, I don't know.
Vonreg.
Oh, we noticed that.
Yeah, we've noticed it.
So
yeah, I noticed that from the beginning, but I don't know how that works because Vonreg in Star Wars Resistance was a dude.
It's got to be an offspring.
That's what I thought. I thought maybe
are you saying that the chick's the offspring, or do you think that she's
the parent?
The mom? That's kind of what I thought.
That's what I thought as well.
So do you think they're going to create more stories around some of the Resistance characters and that period?
I don't know.
I mean, they've got Alphabet Squadron going on, Mandalorian. They've got this game now with these characters. Do you think that they're trying to develop more stories in that period between the End of Return of the Jedi that might, and Force Awakens, that actually might tie into some things like what we understand about the First Order and Vonreg and all of this kind of stuff? She talks about having a brother that was killed in this, but that can't have anything to do with Major Von Reg from Star Wars Resistance. You can't have those two characters and not have that on purpose.
Right. The same name.
And their like anger against the rebellion and the love for the Empire and the piloting.
Yeah, I mean, it all makes sense. So that's, Nathan and I both immediately, when we heard the name, thought
like
that.
Von Reg?
So,
why didn't you guys say anything?
I just forgot about it.
I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think that it makes sense.
So I'm just going to move on now because I feel
time period now.
All right. So,
You were so proud.
I was so excited about that
your little thing, and then we're like, oh yeah, we knew about that.
Is there more content coming for Jedi Fallen Order? This is from CBR.com. I don't know what that one is. Anyway, we've used it before.
Did you not talk about the closing statement?
Oh yeah, I didn't. It'll sure be a lot of fun playing more in the next few days. Blah blah blah. Okay.
Did we step on your thunder?
You did. Yeah.
Sorry.
You just messed me
I'm
all
so
up,
sorry.
That's all right. I was all excited. I thought I had something cool going on there.
We just beat you to it,
and I did it.
Impressive. Every word in that sentence was wrong.
All right, so again, is there more content coming for Jedi Fallen Order? The rumor comes from a deleted tweet from Reset Era moderator Shinobi602. Well, you know, if Shinobi602 says it,
it's gotta be true.
Yeah, who has correctly leaked information regarding numerous games in the past, including characters who have previously been revealed for the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Edition. In the tweet, Shinobi602 responds to another Twitter user stating more content coming down the pipe for Doom and Jedi Fallen Order. Is this Samuel, is this DLC? What could it mean for the game?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. It really worries me that they're doing a DLC. The only reason is
okay. Let me go somewhere.
Go
with
ahead.
this. Maybe they'll be doing something like what they did, or what they're doing for the Spider-Man game. There's the Miles Morales thing coming, right? Which is like,
that's not a DLC. That's a full game.
but it's still sort of like a branch off of.
It's a spin-off.
Right, off of the Fallen Order, and it's it's going to be on PS4 and PS5, but it's kind of coming out with the PS5 as
launch and the big like.
So why can't they do
showcase.
something like that for Fallen Order? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a DLC itself. It's more like a new game, but it's kind of smaller in a sense, like a offshoot maybe.
I don't know, but it worries me if they're releasing a DLC because they haven't said anything about Fallen Order 2 in a while. It performed well, but not, I don't think to the standards that they were wanting. And I'm worried that if they release a DLC that they might be adding more story to wrap up what they left open.
And didn't they say no microtransactions? Well, they might do like what they did with Battlefront 2. Yeah, so it might be a free DLC.
Okay, so let's maybe not be dark side about this and
I know.
actually be light side. Okay,
it worries me.
What if Jedi Fallen Order was like Game of the Year level type stuff?
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
Fantastic.
It did overperform for a Star Wars game.
Absolutely.
When it comes to the sales with it. It may not be performing at the level of some other non-Star Wars games that are similar, but it was
for what it is.
For Star Wars fans, we pretty much all agreed it was awesome, and everybody bought it, and everybody wants more.
Yes.
Okay, so it's kind of like the Mandalorian of gaming. After Battlefront 2, they show up at Jedi Fallen Order, and now Star Wars fans like it.
Yes,
you have the sequel trilogy, you have Solo, you have Rogue One, and Rogue One pretty much was well received. But you have these movies that are somewhat controversial or not liked in a lot of ways, but then they throw in the Mandalorian for live action, and it's loved, and we need more of that kind of stuff. Could it be that they're throwing let's do a DLC, let's keep this game alive, okay, and bridge the gap of the period of time between when this game came out and the new one that is going to come out by doing a DLC to keep people engaged in the story, keep people engaged in the game in order to help boost the popularity of the follow-up game that's coming. Could that be more likely what's happening?
Yeah, like in a way to keep the hype going for both games. Yeah, that makes sense when you put it that way.
And what if the DLC is only available on PS5 and Xbox Select?
And it might be because they might be doing a free release of a remastered version for the PS5 specifically because, it's just... And the Xbox, I guess. But, they're doing that with a lot of other games. There are rumors that Squadrons is going to have it. There are been rumors for a lot of other games. They've already confirmed it for a few EA games. And so will they be doing it? Probably, and that might be what this DLC is about, but they also might add a little bit more story content to get people motivated to do it. So
that'd be fun.
I mean, it's just, I get where you're coming from with that, but if I'm not planning, if say I'm a Star Wars fan and I really like Fallen Order and I happen to have a PS4 and I played it, right? Throwing in a little DLC that you can only get by buying a PS5 is not going to make me go and buy a PS5, because the PS5 is really expensive, and a little 4 or 5 hour DLC is not going to make me want to go and buy the PS5. So I don't think that they can use that as a selling point.
Okay, well, we'll have to wait and see if this rumor turns out to be true. Xbox Series X releases, November 10th. PS5 comes out a couple days later on November 12th, officially, if people can find it and buy it.
Yeah.
All right, Gary Whitta says big Star Wars news is coming this week. This is from his Twitter account. I'll link to it in the show notes. It's got to be legit. Well, he tweeted it, so he said it. So that's what we're reporting, not what he's... anything coming from it. We just are reporting what he said. Star Wars writer Gary Whitta wrote the original script for Rogue One.
Original?
Yeah, the first version.
The scrapped one?
Well, they changed it a lot later, but yeah, he wrote the original. Okay. Was a regular script writer for Star Wars Rebels. He has taken to his Twitter account to make a cryptic announcement about the popular Disney-owned franchised, Star Wars. Whitta shared a following post last week. It said some news coming from a galaxy far, far away next week. Stay tuned. Any guesses on what it could be about?
I hope Rebels. You release Squadrons. There are a lot of Rebels callbacks. Then this guy that wrote on Rebels says that there's a big announcement. That just get to it already. Okay, just release it, announce it, something. Just give us something, please.
Sam, do you think it could be Rebels, or could it be something about the Cassian Rogue One series?
I think it's going to be Rogue One 2. They're going to bring them all
Rogue
back.
2?
Actually. None of them died. Yeah.
None of them died? The sequel?
Yeah, they're bringing it back.
All right, hold on.
Impressed?
They all jumped under the
Everyone
water.
in that sense was wrong.
Yeah, there you go.
You underestimate my power.
Yeah. So.
A weapon that blows up planets. They just jumped under the water and are okay.
It's like in Minecraft. Yeah. You don't take damage in the water.
Well, they only did it was a single reactor ignition.
Oh, okay. So
come on.
It's only like 3 nukes as opposed to 5.
It wasn't the first time they've actually used it. Haven't you watched Star Wars?
I'm sorry. Okay.
They never in Rogue One used the full power of the Death Star, because Grand Moff Tarkin says to Vader that they're demonstrating the full power of the Death Star in A New Hope.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm still a little punchy from the Star Wars Squadrons gameplay earlier
I
today.
can tell. No, I don't know what it could be. I mean, he just said
none of us know what
news.
it could be. He could be talking about what he's writing in the Empire Strikes Back version from a certain point of view, because he's writing a story in that. So
it's probably nothing big. Let's just be real honest.
Well, then why did he say some? Oh wait, some news. I thought he said big news.
Nope, he just said some news. It could be anything.
It's going to be Rian Johnson's trilogy is canceled on that.
I feel like I've heard that one a time or two.
Yeah, so.
But he better not let us down with some stupid Empire Strikes Back from a certain point.
Wow, he's getting a little bit of toxic fandom going over here, right?
Rebels.
He really does love Rebels.
Give it to me.
And on that note, you should check out our show on Wednesday, Star Wars Rebels Revisited,
true.
Episode 1, Spark of Rebellion Part 1. There we go. All right.
Shameless plug.
That was good.
It was shameless.
And if, anything really significant happens, we'll put it out on our Facebook page, not on Twitter.
But is it next
week? We may
week?
retweet that. So.
Is it next week, like Monday?
That's this week, right now. Because that was last week.
Is it like Monday or...
What?
How soon is it? Do we know this?
Sometime within this week.
We have
going to announce it at midnight on...
Alrighty then. Over the last 3 years, as we've been recording this podcast, we've talked about...
3 years?
Almost, yeah.
Wow.
It's been more than 3 years since we started that YouTube channel.
Oof.
Really?
Yeah, so we talked a lot during that time about Sheev Palpatine.
Papa Palp.
I mean... a whole lot.
I am the Senate.
And there's a good reason for it. I mean, he's the villain of the entire Skywalker Saga. But beyond that, he's fascinating as he moves from that humble senator from Naboo to reluctant Chancellor of the Republic to the Emperor of the Galactic Republic. But did Star Wars actually hurt the character by bringing him back in The Rise of Skywalker.
Wokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Rebellion's built on hope.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
If you live long enough, you see the same eyes in different people.
Okay, Samuel the Hutt, tell us what
That's
you think. Tell us what you think about the Senate.
The Senate?
Yep.
I think it's a pretty good form of government.
No, you know
with
what
the
I'm talking about.
balances and checks and
Because we're gonna call Palpatine the Senate today. So,
we've talked about him before
a lot. I said that in the intro,
and recently,
so, yeah.
And I've said before, I just think it's really interesting to see. You happy I used the word, Nate?
I am happy.
To see how he manipulates everything for his goal, including, using Anakin's love and his emotions as a way to also further Palpatine rising to power and stuff. He didn't give a crap about Padme or Anakin. Let's just be real honest. He does not. He only cares about himself and ruling the galaxy. And everything he does is just manipulative and evil, and it always goes towards that goal. And it's messed up and it's twisted and it's evil, but it's interesting to see how he pulls it off.
BB Nate, you had some thoughts.
You got some.
Why don't we have
to
a
do?
Darth Sidious comics?
Why don't we have a Darth Sidious comic theory? Theory guide.
Has a list.
Theory guide. We need Darth Sidious theories on the comic book theories.
Why don't we, though?
I love you, Nate.
I love you.
All right.
But why don't we have a Darth Sidious?
That's a great question.
Comic series. I mean, we don't have any other.
What time period would you want that to be set, BB?
While he's being trained by Plagueis.
Trained, or maybe even before, how somehow he rises up and to be a part of the Naboo.
Well, he's just a senator from Naboo. Like he's
like from a royal family on
Yeah.
Naboo. That's been established. So, yeah, it would be interesting.
Because all we've got from that time period isn't even canon. It's the Darth Plagueis novel.
I mean,
right?
we've had Darth Maul, we've had Count Dooku, we've had freaking Kylo Ren, Darth Vader, but
multiple Vader ones.
But we don't have.
Do you
any
think we lose the
Sidious.
mystery of Palpatine if we do something? If we give more information about his backstory?
Well, it's the same question about Snoke. I think we asked this exact same question about Snoke a while ago, and I said put the backstory into somehow, but I said that he's not a big enough character to write a full book or a comic series about, and they explained backstory in Rise of Kylo Ren. He was a small part in it, and they explained his backstory, so it was really nice, and it flushed that out. But I do think that Palpatine is big enough to get a whole book or comic series about his backstory. I think. So
you want to know more?
I want to know more.
I want to know more.
I don't know. I kind of like not knowing.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's an element of when
it keeps him from being as much of a person and more of like a evil force.
Yeah, I don't want to empathize with Palpatine.
I can understand.
I don't want to see. Think about what Dooku did with Asajj, and think about what Palpatine did with Maul, and how he psychologically and emotionally and used the Force to abuse them
and manipulate. Yeah,
abuse
even Kylo Ren,
like evil. Like if you remember from Dark Disciple, when Asajj talks about what Dooku made her go through, and then she makes Quinlan Voss go through that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be completely honest. I fell asleep halfway through Dark Disciple.
That's okay. It's a good book. You should.
That was a weird one.
It was a good book.
I caught up close to the end, but I don't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, it's pretty ugly stuff, and it makes Maul a sympathetic character. It totally makes Asajj
very
a sympathetic character.
Yes. Especially in Dooku Lost too. Dooku Jedi Lost.
I don't want Darth Sidious to be. I don't want to empathize with the dude. I want him to be evil and bad, and I don't like him. And I see him show up in Phantom Menace, and I'm thinking, bad guy. That guy's name's Palpatine. He's the bad guy.
He's a Sith Lord.
Yeah. And so he's manipulating things. You see him manipulating all throughout the prequel trilogy. I don't want to sit there and think, oh yeah, but then there was that thing that Plagueis did to him that was so bad, or he comes from a rough life, or no. He's the bad guy. So I'm not sure if I agree with that, BB Nate.
Interesting.
That's a good thought.
You could be wrong.
It is
what
interesting.
if the comic series, though, didn't make you empathize with him? It just made him even more evil.
Okay, I'm good with that.
There.
If it makes me...
Like the inner workings of how he thought.
Like the Darth Vader
kill
series.
Darth Plagueis.
It
made me empathize.
the Dark
It
Lord
reminds
Sith
me
series.
of an episode we saw. It might have been on House or something like that, where there was this kid that was completely like psychopathic.
Oh yeah, I remember
right,
what you're talking about. Yeah,
and
yeah.
like manipulative,
Yeah.
and like and
So a
just
literal
like literally
sociopath.
had a sociopath. If this child from age 2 is a sociopath and angry and evil and manipulative and willing to lie about anything and inflict pain on anybody, murder its own sibling like this kid in House did, and all of that, and that's Sidious.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that one I'm cool with.
Right.
But I don't want a sympathetic Palpatine.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about the Dark Lord of the Sith Vader series. Sure, you got to see sides of Vader that you haven't seen before, and you got to see more of his motivation and stuff. But that didn't make what he did any less evil. I mean, it was messed up, the stuff he did. He flooded an entire town just to prove a point to that Jedi he stole his saber from.
But
Just to make it
still,
work.
we know he's Anakin. We know his story,
True.
and so it clouds everything.
That's fair.
With
That's fair.
him, when you see it in the Dark Lord of the Sith, you've got he's trying to get to Padme again,
Vader Immortal and the Eon Star.
Exactly.
Right.
And this, I don't want that for Palpatine. So.
Okay.
Oh, and the show you're talking about was Bull, not
Was it
House.
Bull? Oh, that was ugly.
That was a hard episode.
A twisted episode. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was like when Sam decided he didn't want to watch that anymore.
I didn't like that show.
He didn't like that show. Anyway,
It was a good episode.
All right,
But,
so let's talk about him in the series.
All right, go ahead, Dad.
You know, as far as the original trilogy goes,
We're going for the easy stuff, man.
well, I mean,
Well, no.
That's the hard part for
He's
me.
barely
we
in.
hear about him, and I remember being a kid and not even caring about the Emperor.
You weren't supposed to. He was
Yeah,
mentioned, like,
he was
twice.
a nobody character, right? So he's mentioned a couple of times in A New Hope, in Star Wars, and he's that ugly frog
lady
thing pig character in the hologram in
The Empire Strikes
the Empire Strikes Back.
That was.
And wasn't it like the story was like it was a lady in like a monkey mask or something?
Yeah,
That's
it was
what they
weird.
did.
Yeah, it was weird. And then you see him, and he's the bad guy. He's the ultimate bad guy. You see him as the puppet, the marionette pulling all the strings in Return of the Jedi, and he's elevated to that place, but only so that we can have a redemption of Darth Vader, not because he's a character that really.
So he's not really the big bad.
No, he is.
He is, but he's not in there for very.
But he's already enthroned. He's already the king. He's already the at the top.
Right.
He's
already
of,
in power.
of things. Right. We see his downfall. We see his defeat. But we don't really. I'm not scared of the Emperor in the original trilogy. When I watch that, I don't care about the Emperor. I think he's ugly and he shoots lightning. And you're like, wait a second. Nobody's ever done that before. Okay, that's cool because that's the way we watched Star Wars in the original trilogy era.
Like, that's not canon. Where did that come
Who's
from?
ever shot lightning out of their fingers before? Well, Palpatine.
You can't
did.
do force time.
Okay.
Who gets a green
we don't even
lightsaber?
we don't even call him Darth Sidious. You don't even. His name is not Darth Sidious.
No, it's just the Emperor.
It's the Emperor. And the only reason we knew it was Emperor Palpatine was because that was what the novel called him.
Really?
In the
So he's literally just
Okay, what was
called
the action
Emperor.
figure called then? Emperor Palpatine.
the Emperor.
No, just the Emperor.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was just the Emperor. Okay. And so
And that even further, like,
Mystified.
doesn't, I don't know, like, what the reverse of this would be, like, personifies, like, the opposite of that. You know what I mean?
okay.
Like, you don't, he doesn't even
I
have
have no idea
an,
what we're talking about.
him not having an actual name,
Oh, okay.
like, even makes him less of a person and more of just a
He's just
a figure.
evil.
He's just the Emperor. There's no name, nothing. He's just evil.
Kind of wish they stayed with that.
Me too. But then it would be kind of
and
tough
so
to make the prequels.
We get to the prequels,
Yeah.
and we start getting backstory
a lot of it.
on that. So
Yeah. I mean, we first learn, we see him as just a senator from Naboo, some low-ranking political official from a backwater planet, really. I mean, not backwater, but he's not really all that significant in the grand scheme of things, right? But we see how he is working behind the scenes and what he's manipulating and how he eventually is awarded, he manipulates people to get the current chancellor out of office, right? And then he manipulates things to get it to where he's got emergency powers, right? And then he's so charismatic and he has everybody under his spell to where they're like, oh yeah, it's fine. Well, he can keep the emergency powers. We don't really care. And we just see how he manipulates everything to get to where he is in the original trilogy. But along the way, we learn more of his backstory, right? I mean, you got the whole, have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis, the wise thing and stuff. And, you know, again, it doesn't really, I don't think it makes us empathize with him anymore. I mean, everything we learn about him is just evil, right? And, you know, we see how he's manipulating Anakin and his feelings and how that's just pure evil. I mean, nothing that we do that we see makes me think, oh, I feel bad for Palps. You know, no, we still think he's evil, but we do learn more about him as a person and learn about how he became this powerful emperor that we see in Return of the Jedi.
Okay, I had a question for you.
I have an answer for you.
I'm going to observe.
When you were first watching the prequels,
Yeah.
did you know that Chancellor Palpatine was the Emperor? Did you think that? Okay.
Yes.
So
but
it's
I'll be
obvious
honest
to you.
with you guys.
Yeah.
In 1999, when the Phantom Menace came out,
Phantom?
when the Phantom Menace came out, there was, you know, the general public didn't know that the Emperor was Palpatine.
Really?
The general public did not realize that that's the last name of the Emperor from the original trilogy.
Interesting.
And so it was so fun because that was the beginning of the internet. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet had been around, but it was like becoming popular size. AOL. Yeah, exactly. The dial-up stuff. And I mean, I was all over the message boards. I was all over checking out
forums,
those forums and such. And it'd be like, guys,
I think
I just discovered that that Senator Palpatine becomes the Emperor. And they're like coming out with like all this stuff from the book and everything else. It's like in the opening paragraph of Alan Dean Foster's novel that came out before Star Wars the movie. Right? It's there. They call him Emperor Palpatine. And so, you know, Star Wars like geeks knew this.
Right.
But a lot of the general public didn't with it. And it was fun to watch people kind of come to that realization. And
was there so many toxic people back then?
Yeah, there was been toxic people in Star Wars. Anything that
fandom.
creates a passionate fandom is going to have toxicity because humans are goofy. Okay.
Some humans.
That's one way
I'm
to put
perfect.
it.
No, we're all... Yeah, well, hold on. This one deserves it.
Impressive. Every word in that sentence was wrong.
All right. I do think that the prequels elevated Palpatine to a really, really amazing bad guy. When you get to the end, Darth Plagueis scene, you know, at the Mon Calamari opera, you know, have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise stuff? And I am, you know, this thing. Hold on.
I am the Senate.
Thank you, Joe Biden. I'm sorry. That was not...
Careful.
That was the wrong person.
Party.
I am the Democratic Party. So anyway.
That was a mess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just be honest.
Right
the debate was a disaster, right? And I could say you could pretty much say this about both sides and everything that they said.
Impressive. Every word in that sentence was wrong.
And the rest of us said?
This is madness.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Let's not go there right now. This is not a political podcast.
So here's the deal.
Even though we're talking about politics.
Yeah. I loved Palpatine in the prequels because it created
a mythos, kind of.
A bad guy but it makes me want to know more about that 20-year period, 19-year period. And we've gotten that in Dark Lord of the Sith. We've gotten that in Rebels. We've gotten that in some other stuff.
Fallen Order and everything.
Not much in Fallen Order for me because I haven't followed it, but
you haven't finished it still.
Anyway, I think it's good. So, so then my question for you, BB Nate, you've gone on record that you really do like The Rise of Skywalker.
I do,
and you even said that earlier.
It's a good movie.
And we all do. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we all like The Rise of Skywalker, but it seems to me like you've been more vocally in favor of it all along since the very first viewing with it. BB Nate, what do you think about Palpatine in The Rise of Skywalker and the sequel trilogy as a whole?
I feel like the novel probably fleshed out the story of Palpatine better than the movie did. We know that that is a clone body that they put his essence into, so he's still not technically alive. The body's deteriorating. They need to find a new clone body for him to be put in, and that's where Rey's father comes into play. That is an amazing story as to how Palpatine is still alive. I really like that. I feel like his character throughout the sequel trilogy is very important to Kylo Ren's story. Kylo Ren has a lot to do with Emperor Palpatine, because in Rise of Kylo Ren, we know that Palpatine is influencing him to become a bad guy, and
through Snoke,
right. Yes, and his voice is in his head and everything, from Darth Vader and everything. So he is important through Force Awakens because we see Vader's helmet, and important through Last Jedi because Snoke, and then he's important in Rise of Skywalker because he's actually there and he is the main bad guy. I feel like he is scary and he's evil in Rise of Skywalker, which stayed true to his character, but do I think that it fit? Not really. I kind of wanted them to move away. Not that it's terrible how they introduced this character into it, but I feel like we've gotten his whole story, like from prequels until the end of the sequels, and I honestly feel like his story kind of ended at the end of Return of the Jedi, because it's not really the same person anymore. It's not the same character. It's just his Force essence put into another body.
I disagree. I think you need to have Palpatine in the end. He is the bad guy of the Skywalker saga, and you need to have him finish out the story. I just feel like the general execution was done poorly, not just in Rise of Skywalker. If they had better weaved that through the previous two movies, I think it would have been fantastic. But they just kind of threw him in at the end, just like on a whim, just like, sure, he's a clone, and it didn't fit. It kind of felt disjointed, like, oh, okay, suddenly Palpatine's a part of this. If they had better integrated it, I think it would have been great. I think you have to have Palpatine in
and
the
from
end.
what I saw in what Colin Trevorrow's movie would have been, it feels
Duel
like
of the Fates or whatever.
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
it feels like it would have been better weaved into it, and I mean, everything about it just seems like it would have. It seemed like Colin Trevorrow cared about how the series ended a little bit more than J.J. Abrams did.
No, I think that's
just J.J.
That's an opinion on your side, and you're allowed to have that. But I would say I'd be careful with
I'm not saying
reading into whether or not J.J. Abrams cared.
No, it just seems like J.J. Abrams had his story he wanted to tell, and he was going to tell it regardless. In a sense, if that makes sense, you know,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
And I'm sure some people will say that about Rian Johnson too, which is entirely plausible. I don't know about that,
but he didn't really carry off of what Rian Johnson.
He really largely ignored it.
Yeah,
so
it felt like I
don't think he intentionally vindictively ignored Rian Johnson's stories.
No.
I think that they respect each other. I think that they like each other. I think that JJ appreciated the ideas that Rian came up with, but JJ is going to do JJ's movie, and that's what he did with it. And that's the challenge that you have when you don't have a continuous thing. You don't have a Kevin Feige guiding the whole thing. Two questions. First of all, Kathleen Kennedy, April 2019, Celebration Chicago. They show the trailer. Ian McDiarmid comes out, roll it again. Everybody's losing their mind about Emperor Palpatine coming out. We're all in there. It's like the high point of Rise of Skywalker hype, right? Without a doubt.
Oh, 100%.
In the post-panel interviews with news crews, and Adam Lance Garcia, was at the time producing for Yahoo, immediately came into the lowly media room that we were allowed to be a part of that didn't have anybody in it.
That was nice. It was a nice room.
He came in and he did the show with us, and he said flat out, she said that Palpatine's return has been in the books since they started thinking about writing the Force Awakens. It's always been in the plans. Was that... I don't want to say she's lying. how do I say this? I have no doubt that conversation was had. But was it really the plan? Was it really like, yes, we're going to have him come back?
Was it just kind of an idea that was thrown out and they're like, maybe?
Yeah,
but not
if it fits, we'll do it.
Yeah, but like not like...
Because it doesn't feel like it was the plan.
No, it's not mentioned at all in the first two films. At all.
Is Rise of Kylo Ren a retcon in order to try to fix this?
It feels like it. And I'm not saying that Rise of Kylo Ren was a bad series. It was actually a really good comic series.
People love it. And I haven't finished it yet, so I want to. So.
Finished?
Okay, I'll
finished it.
But I don't think that they really thought that Palpatine was supposed to come back. I feel like it was an idea that might have been thrown out, and they're like, eh.
Did decrepit, falling apart, rotting, stuck to a giant robotic arm version of Darth Sidious, Emperor Palpatine, in The Rise of Skywalker, did this hurt the character of Emperor Palpatine? Would his character have been better off had they not had him in The Rise of Skywalker?
I don't know. I mean, because I've said I feel like you have to have him finish off the series. It's just he needed to be more present in the first two films. I don't think the way he was presented in The Rise of Skywalker was bad. Like that physical form, I think it's fine. It's just it felt like it was rushed and just kind of tried to be like shoehorned in there at the last minute just to see if it would work. And that's where I think the problems arise. I don't think the decrepit, falling apart Palpatine's a problem. The overall execution.
Again, I feel like the execution was poor. I feel like what Sam said, it was shoehorned in there. They're like, okay, Last Jedi didn't get good ratings. Let's introduce the big baddie from the original trilogy. That'll get people to watch our movie. I'm not saying that I did want him to be in this movie. I feel like it was what everybody was expecting. But the execution, I just didn't enjoy the execution that they had his character with.
He didn't seem like much of a threat.
No, he didn't. I mean, a guy with an arm that's old and falling apart isn't much of a threat.
He isn't the threat.
No.
The fleet is the threat.
Fleet, yeah.
Yes, not him. They don't even know about him until the very
end.
end.
If he's still hooked up to the arm,
okay,
and they defeat the threat, the fleet, they're kind of like, okay,
yeah,
that's the way it felt, and that's why I say it. For me, it diminishes his character.
That's
to some
fair.
extent.
I understand now where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've for the dad moment this week.
I am your father.
We've talked about Palpatine a lot on this show. I mentioned that before. I've tended to compare him to a Satan-like figure. He's the ultimate evil who manipulates everyone from behind the scenes until the time is right to fully reveal himself and then grab the throne that he's been pursuing all along. But what ultimately bests him in The Return of the Jedi is love and his sacrifice. And in reality, it's the only thing that's ever going to bring defeat of evil. And then as I'm thinking about it, the Satan-like figure in Star Wars comes back at the end as a shell of himself in order to try to rise up. And biblically, that's what's going to happen with Satan after his defeat with it. So next week, I have no idea what we're going to talk about because we're starting a new series.
That was 10 people already?
Yeah, I think so.
Dang.
Something like that. So.
Wow.
It'll be we'll have to just tune in.
Droids. We're doing droids, right?
We talked about doing droids. It's possible.
It might be kind of fun.
There are
actually.
a lot of droids.
It might be a fun show to do. So maybe we'll do droids.
I think we should do droids.
I think we should. Do we start with R2 though?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll do all the good droids.
Okay. All right. So anything else you guys want to talk about?
Anything else?
Theory. This is strictly a theory. Anakin and Baby Yoda were meant to be Star Wars' most important duo, i.e. the dyad.
Wow, now that's an interesting idea.
I don't think that the vibe between Anakin and Baby Yoda would have
You don't think
worked.
they get along?
I don't.
Yeah.
They're two children.
Well, no. Oh, yeah. No, so, I mean, I think that, I don't know how this theory
That would
works.
be weird.
And the more I think about the theory, the less the theory makes sense. So anyway, we'll move past that.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Darth Maul's real name still hasn't been revealed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why this
like
is
we know Dooku, we know Palpatine, we know
why am I forgetting every Sith
Kylo,
that's ever
Ben
existed?
Solo.
Okay, do we actually know Palpatine?
That's his name.
No, it's Sheev Palpatine.
I know.
Sheev Palpatine is his name.
Is it his real name?
That's his real name.
No, but like, what if he just made up a name to get royalty?
It's close enough.
He didn't. He was born on Naboo. He was born to a royal family.
Okay, what's to stop a man that's evil?
Okay.
Why does it matter? We know his non-Sith
The question
name.
is, will we ever get Darth Maul's name, and do we really need it?
No, and no.
All right. That's Matt Martin went on Twitter the other day.
Oh, go on, Matt.
Stirred up some controversy.
On top of all the stuff that's
I got a bad feeling about this.
I'm not even sure.
He's like, Squadrons is performing well. We got to get some more controversy
I'm
in
not
here.
sure if this is worth talking about because it might, blow up the show even right here. But he explained that we've all been spelling the word
Tauntaun wrong.
Tauntaun.
How do you spell it?
Wrong. It's Tauntaun.
Okay.
But you can't capitalize it, and people have been spelling it with like capitals and TONTON. And
do you capitalize cow?
Unless it's the first word in the sentence.
Well, yeah.
So
interesting.
And in classic Star Wars fan fashion,
people all up pissed
I'm just
off
when
about
I talk about it being a big mess, it's not that big of a mess, but it's funny anyway.
People are making a big deal out of it just for
they
fun.
are making a big deal out of it. So anyway, okay. Yeah, it's your turn, BB Nate.
Focus.
We're waiting on you, Bubba.
Come on, bud.
Come on.
Oh yeah, give us a rating.
hold on. This fits. So
please give us a rating and review on iTunes and Google Podcasts and most of the podcatchers that you use. It helps people find the show. It really does. And if they do find it and see your awesome positive review, they might actually want to listen to it more. Which is good.
So please give us a review.
Yes, and we'll read it on the air if it doesn't have a lot of no words and
we find it
and it's positive. Yeah. So,
and then normally I'd say follow us on all our social media.
Just follow us on Facebook because that's what we're doing right now.
That's where we're doing stuff. Join our discussion.
It's not like I'm canceling the other accounts.
No, just we're not really doing much on there. So just go ahead and follow us on Facebook and join our discussion group, Tatooine Sons discussion group, and then you can interact with us, post your stuff on there, help us shape the show, all that stuff. It's just a lot of fun, and that's where we're most active. So it's just
we haven't been active on anything for the last few weeks. But that's where we're going to be more active. So
yeah,
that's what the choice I've made. So
good choice.
It is a good choice.
It is.
It was fun doing the show again, guys.
Yeah,
let's do a Rebels show this week.
I think that's a good idea.
I like that show.
I love that show. So
it's a good show.
It comes out Wednesday sometime.
Hopefully,
once it gets edited, it's not going to be a big edit, so it'll be a lot of fun. So, anything else you guys want to say?
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you always.
This part is over.
I like that Wookiee.
Don't get technical with me.